All right, we are going to learn how to name ternary ionic compounds, which are typically going to be a metal cation attached to a polyatomic anion. Sometimes you're going to see a polyatomic cation, like ammonium, attached to some other polyatomic anion. Okay, so what I want you to do first is I want you to highlight the transition metals, which are all the metals in the middle and underneath the stair step that have varying charges, because we have to calculate their charge. So we're going to underline Mn, Sn, and Pb, okay? Because we have to calculate their charge, so we're going to wait to do those until the end, because the rest are a lot more straightforward. When you're naming these, all you have to do is look at the metal first, or the cation. This is potassium, so we're going to write potassium. Attached to potassium is CrO4, which is a polyatomic ion, which is at the bottom left of your periodic table. It is chromate. We're going to skip B and come back to it. For C, Li is lithium. And then CO3 is a polyatomic ion. It's oxygen attached to carbon. You look at the right-hand side of that numbering system I taught you to use. CO3 is carbonate. Skip D and go to F. NH4 is a polyatomic cation, which is listed at the bottom left of your periodic table. It is ammonium. Ammonium is attached to IO2. This is oxygen attached to iodine. You're looking at the right-hand side of the periodic table at the numbering system that I taught you. IO2 is iodite. G, Ba is barium. When you have parentheses, you want to put a box around what is inside the parentheses and name what is inside the parentheses only. Okay? So PO4 is oxygen attached to phosphorus. You're looking at the right-hand side of the periodic table at the numbering system I taught you. PO4 is phosphate. Skip H and go to I. Al is aluminum. And here we have parentheses, so we want to put a box around what is inside the parentheses, because you only name what is inside the parentheses. Make sure you write that down. ClO is oxygen attached to chlorine. You look at the right-hand side of the periodic table at the numbering system I taught you, and this is the hypochlorite ion. Okay, now let's go back to the compounds that contain transition metals, because we have to calculate their charge. So what I want you to do is put a bracket or a box around what is inside the parentheses. So NO3 is in a box. I have two NO3s. Remember, on the periodic table that I gave you, there is a circle around nitrogen, and it goes over to group 7A, because you have to follow that numbering system if oxygen is attached to nitrogen. This is the nitrate ion, and it has a -1 charge. So you write the -1 charge up here, and you multiply the -1 by 2. This gives you a -2 charge overall on this anion. If I have a -2 charge overall on the anion, I want a +2 overall on the cation, which is on the left. No subscript is written on manganese, so that means I only have one of them. 1 manganese times what charge would give me a +2 overall? It would have to be a +2 charge on the manganese. So the answer here is manganese, Roman numeral 2, because of this charge that I just figured out, and you name what is inside the parentheses. This is nitrate. D, we have parentheses again, so I'm going to put a box around the polyatomic ion that is in parentheses. I have two BROs. Oxygen is attached to bromine, so you look at the right-hand side of the periodic table at the numbering system I taught you. The charge on this ion is -1, so I write it up here in this corner. Multiply the -1 by 2, and you're going to get a -2 overall on this anion. So if this is a -2 overall, I want a +2 overall on the cation. I only have 1 tin because there is no subscript written. 1 times what charge will give you this +2? it has to be a +2 charge on the tin. So this is tin, Roman numeral 2, and inside the parentheses is what I'm naming. This is the hypobromite ion. Okay? So it's tin 2 hypobromite. Let's come over here to H. Now, listen to me carefully. Every year, students mess this up. There are no parentheses on the SO3. That means you only have one of them. Remember, when we don't write a subscript, there's just one of those ions. If there is more than one, we're writing a subscript and we're using parentheses. So what I want you to do is put a box around all of SO3. I only have one of them, okay? So I have one SO3 because there are no parentheses with a subscript written on the outside. The charge on SO3 is a -2. Multiply -2 times 1 and you get a -2 overall on that anion. That means I want a +2 overall on the cation, which is on the left. No subscript is written on the lead, so that means I only have one of them. 1 times what charge on the lead would give me a +2? Well, it would have to be a 2. So the charge on the lead is a 2. So this is lead, Roman numeral 2, because of the charge on it. And you want to name SO3. This is sulfite. And you're done.